You're listening to Kizuki, the podcast. I'm Mae Yoshikawa, and I define the Japanese concept of Kizuki as the following. Kizuki. 1. A moment of epiphany, an aha of realization or insight which opens the knower to a new dimension of truth that was formerly unknown. 2. Steps in an incremental growth of awareness, resulting in a movement from ignorance to greater awareness of the bigger picture. A kind of knowing that cannot be undone, that cannot be unrealized. As a longtime yoga and meditation practitioner, a world traveler, and curious self-explorer, I'm obsessed with Kizukis. Listen on each week for inspiring and enlightening stories that may just tip you over for your next aha. On this week's episode, I want to do something bad. Did you know that there is a place in Japan that encourages you to steal? The other day, a close friend of mine sent me an article from the Tokyo Weekender. It was about a new interactive exhibition here in Tokyo. It's called Gigamart. Now, this isn't your typical art exhibit. Visitors are actually invited to steal, and they even buy tickets to enter for the chance to steal. Like, seriously. There's a part of the experience where you're in a store-like gallery, and apparently visitors are given a time limit, a challenge to take a drink, a snack, a used book, or anything else on display, all without being detected by the surveillance cameras. When my friend sent me this article, she wrote, "Like this?" And I just didn't get it at first. I texted her back saying, "What do you mean, like this?" And she responded, "Well, because the other day you told me you wanted to do something bad." And I just bursted out laughing because she was absolutely right. I had said that. And until that moment, I had completely forgotten. Now, to be clear, I am no kleptomaniac and I have no desire to become a thief. So, why would someone like me, someone who has spent most of her life trying to do the right thing, all of these healthy choices and wellness and everything, suddenly say, "I feel like doing something bad"? Now, this question deserved a little digging. And as I've sort of thought about it, I think I finally understood what was really going on, which is what I want to share with you in today's episode. Now, for some of you who've been listening along, you might have been hearing about her recently. There's a part of me that's been coming back to life. Let's just call her the Rebel Mae. Sometimes it feels to me like it's the teenage Mae, too. And at first, I thought she was simply tired of being responsible, always being the mom and the leader or the teacher and the employer, the endurer of hardship and the carrier who carries everything and everyone through. But the more I sat with it, the more I realized she wasn't rebelling against society. She wasn't even rebelling against the rules. No, this wasn't what that's about. She was rebelling against the version of me who is always watching me. It's like, for as long as I can remember, I've been living with this internal supervisor. I think maybe it took root in me because I started living away from my parents at such a young age. I was only 15 when I started living with my sister. I had all the freedom in the world, but it was also really scary. Like, I felt like if I didn't constantly check in with myself, nobody was watching over me. Whether it was about my schoolwork, managing money and life and health, or just simple discipline in daily life, I just had this sense that I was on the edge. That if I didn't do the right thing, I might just slip off the cliff of life and fail. So I had this inner surveillance thing going on. And as I look back, there have been many ways that it's served me well. Certainly, it's helped me in my career to be independent, maybe even too independent. But it's helped me to build my business, raise two beautiful boys, write books, stand on a TEDx stage. Yeah, all of those things are still true. But after years of only knowing to live in this way, I think as I was loosening up from all of these old identities of the endurer and the carrier and everything, some part of me just started to wonder, could I be more free? What would it feel like to not be watching myself all the time? And I think maybe that's what I meant when I said to my friend that day, I feel like doing something bad. It wasn't really about doing something bad. It was more about wanting just for a moment to step outside the gaze of this inner supervisor. And the funny thing is, this article that my friend sent me about the exhibition, right? The whole challenge is to steal without being seen. And I thought, how symbolic is that? Not because I had any desire to steal, but because something inside me longs to be free from this surveillance, the sense of always being watched, even by myself. It's like underneath all that self-monitoring was a low-grade unspoken fear. That teenage sense that I told you about earlier, that if I stop managing myself, who will I become? Will I fall off the bandwagon of life and be left behind? If I stop controlling myself, would I fail? Would I begin to fall apart? And this fear certainly was not ever spoken or spelled out loud. I think it was just this low-grade chronic sense that I harbored inside. And when you carry something like that for so long, it almost becomes second nature. It was so natural to me. I would have assumed that everyone has that. But lately, as I've been diving into this theme, I think I'm learning a key distinction. It's that the opposite of this self-control and self-monitoring isn't chaos. I'm beginning to think it's self-trust. It's this trust that I can know that I'd be just fine without extreme discipline. Trust that I don't have to constantly prove that I'm responsible through results. Trust that I can rest without becoming lazy. Trust that I can have fun, explore, or spend money without becoming reckless. Trust that I can change my mind without becoming an unreliable person. It's as though my constant underlying question used to be, how do I become a better version of myself? Because I was always trying to cling to this bandwagon of life. But now I'm questioning that. And I think I'm maybe replacing it with this. What freedom am I wanting to give myself? In my innocent little phrase, I feel like doing something bad was what helped me to come to this Kizuki. Because what my psyche was really communicating wasn't about why do I want to do something bad, like shaming myself, but rather it was pointing to what freedom do I believe only a quote unquote bad person is allowed to have. That's worth sitting with, right? Maybe it's the freedom to disappoint someone, the freedom to be imperfect and love it anyway, the freedom to waste an afternoon and not give a damn, the freedom not to optimize every moment, the freedom to be misunderstood, the freedom to be me, to be human, without the constraints of how others might see you or what they might expect of you and the roles that you play. And here's the beautiful irony. I know I'm not really looking for rebellion. It was just that I recognized that sense of rebellious uprising in me. And all the while, I'm also aware that rebellion is an energy that defines itself by rebelling against something. It still needs an opponent, meaning as long as you're rebelling, you're still tied to that thing or that idea that you're rebelling against. In other words, you're not truly free. So for me, what I think I'm looking for now is something much bigger, something sovereign. It's the freedom to choose simply because it feels true and right to me. Not because I'm trying to be good, not because I'm fulfilling my roles, and also not because I'm trying to be bad, but simply because I choose so. I wonder if that's what growing up really is. Not becoming more disciplined or fitting into some pristine mold. And also not becoming more rebellious. Just slowly, inch by inch, becoming someone who no longer needs to be tied to any idea of identity. Why? Because in her freedom, she knows she trusts herself. Thank you for listening. If this episode resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you took a moment to rate, review, or share the show with someone who might be ready to discover that there's a name for the moments of awareness and subtle shifts they've been experiencing on their own journey. If you're curious to experience Kizuki journaling, you can explore my guided journaling sessions at maey.live under On Demand. Each session explores a single theme through just 3 journal prompts woven together with a guided meditation. If you'd like to join a live session on Zoom, sign up for my newsletter at the bottom of maey.live or kizukijournaling.com to be the first to hear about upcoming sessions. Until next time, may your next Kizuki gently find you.